She's such a useless wife who doesn't do any housework and only thinking about herself. I'm having trouble with her.
You're our daughter-in-law, so don't slack off on the housework.
My in-laws have always been the kind of people who treat others like servants. But even so, making me work right after giving birth? Can I really call these people my family? Just then, my sister showed up at my in-laws' place. Let me tell you, my sister is tough. She surely brought some gifts, too. I'm Rebecca, 34 years old. I work at the front desk of a small travel agency.
Rebecca, it looks like we're not getting any more customers today, and it's almost closing time. You can go ahead and head out. Go pick up your little girl.
Oh, really? Thank you so much. I'll gladly take you up on that offer. My company has a warm, family-like atmosphere and is very understanding when it comes to parenting. That's exactly why I decided to work here. I started this job a year ago, after being a stay-at-home mom for a while. Before that, right after graduating from college, I worked at a major travel agency. When I was 28, I met Ryan, who was the same age as me through my friend. Ryan was an auto mechanic. He was a great talker and kind, and we got married when we were 30. Ryan, my husband, wanted us to live with his parents. Right now, my in-laws are still healthy, but at some point, they might need care. Rather than moving in with them when that time comes, maybe it's better to live together from the start. After giving it a lot of thought, I decided to accept living with my in-laws. I don't think it was a bad decision made just because I was caught up in the excitement of getting married. But in the end, these people turned out to be a total disaster. Right after we got married, I was still working. I figured we might have kids in the future, so I wanted to save as much money as possible while I still could. But Ryan had a different idea. Since we're living with my parents, we don't have to pay rent. And with both of us working, life's pretty comfortable. Let's take the whole family on a trip to Hawaii, he suddenly suggested. And of course, his parents, Steve and Megan, got all excited about Ryan's idea.
I've never been to Hawaii before, and you guys are covering all the costs, right?
Wait a minute.
Hawaii? Of course, we're staying at a luxury hotel, right? You can't trust cheap places overseas.
Even Steve was saying whatever he wanted. So Rebecca, you take care of the reservations. Ryan dumped the entire booking process on me. By the way, when I brought up the payment issue, I said, taking 4 adults to Hawaii is going to be really expensive. Ryan, do you think your parents could cover their share?
You also have some savings from before your marriage, don't you? You're already part of this family, which means your money is ours. Use your savings to pay for the trip.
What the heck? Sure, I married into the family, but making the wife cough up a huge amount of money right off the bat. I didn't feel great about it, but looking at the big picture, I figured I'd eventually become a real part of the family. And by that point, my in-laws were already set on going. I had to drain a good chunk of my savings from when I was single, which was a huge blow. But I thought, at least this will help me bond with my in-laws. Turns out, I couldn't have been more wrong. There was no shortage of drama during the trip.
Hey, Rebecca. The view from this hotel room is awful. I wanted a higher floor. How could you not check the room location properly? You're completely useless.
Rebecca, tell the staff here to lower the price. This is a total rip-off. There are plenty of similar things around. Go and negotiate.
Steve kept grumbling about the hotel accommodations, while Megan tried to haggle at luxury brand stores. I mean, a higher floor costs more money, and you don't just bargain at a high-end boutique. But one thing became crystal clear right away. These in-laws think they are in the center of the world for no reason. In the end, Steve stayed grumpy the entire time, and Megan kept complaining. I couldn't buy anything. I kept getting criticized, lost my savings, and it was just one disaster after another. I figured they just didn't understand the basics of traveling abroad. At the time, I tried to convince myself of that. But after we got back home, something changed. The situation got even worse. My in-laws suddenly started treating me horribly.
Rebecca, dinner tonight is awful. How did you even manage to make something this bad? It tastes like animal feed.
I'm sorry.
And make sure you clean up the front entrance properly. It's embarrassing if guests come over and see a mess. You're so thoughtless.
Oh, okay. Even though Ryan and I both worked full-time, somehow, I was the one stuck doing all the housework, including everything for my in-laws. Steve worked as a government employee, but Megan was a stay-at-home wife. Then, while we were at work, Megan would invite her neighbors over for endless chit-chat or watch concert DVDs of her favorite K-pop singers, singing along at the top of her lungs. One day, a neighbor stopped me and gave me a warning.
Hey you, can you stop singing in that weird voice all day? It's really annoying. I already told Megan, but she won't stop and I don't know what to do.
Wait. Why am I the one getting blamed? It wasn't even me. Apparently, Megan was embarrassed about getting complaints from the neighbors, so she decided to tell everyone that I was the one singing. I went to Ryan and asked him, "Hey, can you tell Megan to stop blaming me for her weird singing?" Then Ryan said,
Mom probably just wants to sing sometimes. Let her have her fun.
"No, that's not the issue. I don't care if she sings. But Megan is totally tone deaf, right? So when our neighbors complain, she tells them I'm the one singing, and now everyone's looking at me weird."
Who cares? Let people say whatever they want. Stop bugging me with stupid stuff while I'm playing my game.
He was completely glued to his phone, playing a mobile game, and wouldn't even have a proper conversation. And then, maybe Megan had overheard our discussion, because a few days later. Oh no! The moment I got home from work, I screamed as Megan splashed water all over me at the front door. What the heck?
I was just cleaning the entrance. It's so dirty, thanks to a certain tone-deaf someone who never cleans properly. Always singing those weird songs. You're a nuisance to the neighbors too.
Soaking wet, I looked up to see Megan smirking as she shouted loud enough for the neighbors to hear. Just because she got called tone deaf, she really had to take it this far? This was straight up childish bullying. Then Steve jumped in too. "Rebecca, you forgot to iron my shirt. I'm leaving in 30 minutes, so hurry up and do it." He tossed his shirt at me like I was some kind of servant. Are you kidding me? I have to get ready for work in the morning too. I'm already swamped with making breakfast and hanging the laundry, and now I have to iron too. Megan, I'm really short on time. Would you mind taking care of it?
You should have prepared better. Do what you're supposed to do yourself.
She said this with a completely straight face while calmly eating her breakfast I had made. Do what you're supposed to do yourself. Shouldn't Steve or Megan be the ones handling Steve's clothes? And as for Ryan, he was still living his life exactly the same as before we got married. enjoying himself without a care in the world. Even if I got home early from work, Ryan never lifted a finger to help with the housework. On weekends, if I asked him, "Hey, can you come grocery shopping with me?" he would just say, "No way. It's my day off and I want to relax." And then spend the whole day glued to his video games. I'm off today too, you know?
Rebecca, isn't lunch ready yet? Hurry up, you're so inefficient. What a useless wife.
Hey, where's my coffee?
Even on weekends, I was nothing more than a servant to my in-laws. When was I ever supposed to get a break? A year into our marriage, I got pregnant. In the early months, I struggled with terrible morning sickness. Just smelling fried food made me feel sick. So I asked Megan, Megan, my morning sickness is really bad. Could you take over cooking for a little while? But her response?
Morning sickness. You'll get used to it. Here, breathe it in properly.
Then she shoved a freshly fried piece of chicken right up to my nose. It felt like some kind of food torture. Stop it. I really can't take it. I covered my mouth and Megan smirked.
Oh my, you're really so weak that you're trying to push cooking onto someone else over something like this? I was totally fine when I was pregnant. Honestly, if you're this fragile, is the baby even going to be okay? Or are you just being lazy?
She just kept throwing insult after insult. Does she not even realize that early pregnancy symptoms vary from person to person? She might have been fine, but plenty of women suffer terribly from morning sickness. I was really hurt, so I decided to talk to Ryan. Hey Ryan, I think I'm having a rougher time than usual in early pregnancy. My morning sickness is really bad, and I need Megan to help out, but she just won't listen. Could you ask her to be more understanding?
Oh yeah, Mom already told me. She said you're just trying to get out of doing housework.
Wait, hold on. I'm not trying to slack off. I really feel awful.
But it's not like you're sick, right? Every mom in the world goes through this, so it can't be that bad. Just do what you always do and handle it.
What the heck? Since no one was willing to help me, I had no choice but to find ways to cut down on my chores and get things done faster. But then,
Oh my, Rebecca, you're making such simple meals again. Just grilling something or tossing ingredients together. Looks like you're getting a little lazy. Do it over.
Megan tossed the meal I had worked so hard to prepare straight into the trash.
Make something more filling next time.
And just like that, I was treated like a servant even during my pregnancy. But none of this had anything to do with my baby. I wanted to discuss and carefully choose the things we needed for our child with Ryan. But when I opened a parenting magazine and showed it to him, all he said was, "I dunno, just handle it yourself." That was it. As if I wasn't just as clueless as he was. This man had absolutely no sense of responsibility as a future parent. It became painfully clear that I couldn't rely on him for anything. As I entered my third trimester, I decided to quit my job. At first, both Ryan and his parents were completely against it.
If Rebecca quits, our household income will go down. You better go back to work as soon as you give birth.
I'm retiring soon. You need to keep working.
Oh, so you're planning to be a stay-at-home mom and take it easy. Must be nice. Women have it so easy.
They all had something to say. It wasn't like I had planned to quit either. I had wanted to take maternity leave, go on parental leave, and return to the job I loved. But living in this house, I realized there was no one else who would take care of my child but me. Since they kept pushing back so hard, I finally snapped and fired back. Okay, then after my baby is born, who's going to take care of them? It's not like I can immediately get them into daycare, and if they get sick, they won't be able to go at all. If I have no choice, I'll take time off. But when I can't, will any of you step up and help?
What are you talking about? Raising a child is the parent's responsibility. You can't just dump it on others.
No, I wasn't trying to dump anything on them. I was just asking for a little support. This was their own child, their grandchild, and yet not a single one of them was willing to step up. That realization hurt. To them, I was just an outsider who happened to marry into their family. I'm not saying I'll never work again. Once the baby is older, I'll look into going back to work or taking on a part-time job. But while they're still small, I want to be the one taking care of them properly. After hearing that, the three of them reluctantly agreed. And so, I quit my job before giving birth. But even up until the very last moment of my pregnancy, they still made me do all the housework as usual. Finally, the day of my scheduled delivery arrived. I had opted for an induced birth and was already admitted to the hospital. Megan started ranting nonsense about it, saying, "That's unnatural. You should wait for labor to start naturally. I just can't keep up with how young people think these days." I felt it was dangerous for me to stay in this house without any support. By this point, I had stopped caring about them, and I was only thinking about my baby. A mother has to be strong. I safely gave birth and contacted my in-laws, but all Ryan said was, "Oh, okay. So, when are you coming home?" Not a single one of them came to see me or the baby. Meanwhile, my parents and sister rushed over right away to celebrate.
She's adorable. And you did such a great job.
Hearing my mom say that, I suddenly felt relieved, and tears started streaming down my face. That's right. I had done it all on my own. If I could give birth by myself, then surely I could handle whatever came next at my in-laws' house. Or so I thought. On the 6th day after giving birth, I returned to my house with my newborn daughter. Waiting for me was Megan. "Finally, you're back. Now, clean the house," she ordered. Wait a second. I literally just gave birth a few days ago. My body wasn't even close to recovering yet. And she wanted to dump housework on me already? What kind of person does that? But dust isn't good for a newborn. So, despite being completely exhausted, I forced myself to clean. Then, just like before, I cooked dinner and did all the cleanup. While I was busy, my baby started crying, but neither of my in-laws even made a move to help. Even though I had brought the baby home, neither of them even bothered to take a proper look at their grandchild. On top of that, Ryan didn't come home that day. I had told him the discharge date over the phone. The next day, when he finally came back, I asked him, "Ryan, where were you yesterday? I just brought our baby home."
I just went out for drinks. I am busy working, so don't nag me about it.
Ryan said bluntly. Did he not feel even the slightest urge to see his newborn baby? As I had expected, nothing changed in the way I was treated after giving birth. Even though I was sleep deprived from the baby waking up at night, I was still forced to do housework and keep up with daily life as usual. I had at least hoped Ryan would help out a little with the baby, but all I got was, "I don't know how, so no," as if he had zero interest from the start. He didn't even try to hold the baby. My in-laws weren't any better. She doesn't look like Ryan at all. Not cute one bit, Megan said, barely glancing at the baby. They didn't even try to hold her, let alone show any affection. And then they actually had the nerve to say, "Is she really our grandchild?" Seriously? Did they really think a wife they had worked to the bone had the time or energy to go out messing around? The moment the baby cried even a little, they'd snap, "Shut that baby up," or "The neighbors are coming over soon, so take the baby and go out somewhere." Rather than being treated like family, I was treated like an outsider. Do these people not understand that babies cry? Weren't they parents themselves at one point? Left with no choice, I put my baby in the stroller and went out, even though I had no errands to run. I felt completely drained and empty, but I knew my baby had no one else to rely on but me. I had to stay strong. Just as I was thinking that, I spotted a bakery in front of me. When I'm feeling down, sweets are the best way to lift my mood. I might as well celebrate my baby's birth too. I bought 4 puddings for the family. Pudding is my favorite dessert. Back when we were dating, Ryan used to buy them for me or take me to nice places to eat them. But in the past few years, he hasn't brought me anything at all. As the temperature dropped, I headed home, only to find that the neighbors were still there, chatting happily with Megan. I didn't want to interrupt, so I quietly stepped inside. Rebecca is becoming a stay-at-home mom, right? Does that mean we'll have to listen to that awful singing all the time now? One of the neighbors joked.
I'm so sorry for being stuck with such a nuisance of a daughter-in-law. She's so full of herself. She even decided to become a stay-at-home mom all on her own. Steve is retiring soon, so we could really use an extra income. But no, she just does whatever she wants. Seriously, she's such a useless wife who only thinks about herself. It's ridiculous. She can't even handle housework properly, and she thinks she deserves to stay home? 100 million years too early for that, don't you think?
If anyone here is only thinking about themselves, it's you. And once again, they blamed that awful singing on me. That night, while preparing dinner, I suddenly came down with a high fever. It was probably from overworking myself right after giving birth. And yet, no one helped with the baby, and Ryan didn't even come home. Late at night, when my fever finally started to go down, I got up and headed to the kitchen, thinking I should eat something. That's right. I bought pudding earlier. But when I got there, Ryan, who had just come home, was already eating the pudding I had bought. On the table, there was already one empty jar. And now he was reaching for a second one. Wait, why are you eating 2 of them?
I was hungry. Then Mom and Dad said there was pudding, so I ate it.
One of those was mine.
It's just pudding. What's the big deal? Don't be so stingy. Besides, you're just pretending to be sick again so you can slack off, aren't you? Seriously, cut it out. Mom told me again. Rebecca is getting lazy. Just do your part properly.
Ryan muttered as he shoved the last pudding into his mouth, then tossed the empty jar at me. Do your part properly? Who the hell is telling me that? That's exactly what I want to say to all of them. Ryan wasn't the person he used to be. He had probably even forgotten that pudding was my favorite. They call me a failure as a family member? Fine by me. If that's how they see me, then I'll be the one to cut them off first. Pudding may be sweet, but the bitterness of being denied is not. The next day, I returned to my parents' house with my baby. The moment I arrived at the front door, my parents came out to greet me.
Welcome home, sweetheart. You did well coming back. Come inside.
As they spoke, they gently took my baby from my arms and carried my bags inside. This is what real family looks like.
Oh, Rebecca, what's wrong? Are you feeling sick?
Hearing my mom's voice, I suddenly realized I was crying. As my dad took care of the baby, I sat down with my mom and told her everything that had happened.
Oh dear, that must have been really tough on you.
I wanted to stay strong for my baby, but I realized that living in that house where I'm not even seen as family isn't good for the baby either. That's why I've decided I need to move on.
I see. Well, you don't have to worry about a thing. Your dad and I are more than happy to have you and your baby here. It's just the two of us old folks, after all. With you two here, our house will feel much livelier.
Mom's words were so full of warmth and encouragement. Then she handed me something. Here, eat this and get your strength back. Really?
You love pudding, don't you? I heard you were coming today, so I made sure to have some ready.
Looking down at the pudding in front of me, I felt my tears well up again. It meant so much that my mom cared enough to think about me. I wanted to be this kind of parent, too. I was certain that I could not stay in that house. Just as I was thinking that, I heard two voices from the front door. We're coming in. Walking into the room were my sister, Kate, and her 3-year-old daughter, Maddie. As soon as Maddie spotted me holding the baby, her eyes lit up with excitement. There's a baby! Can I see? Can I touch? Watching Maddie play with the baby filled me with happiness. As I was lost in thought, Kate suddenly spoke up.
Are you thinking about moving back home?
What makes you think that?
I can just tell by looking at your face. And besides, I've been there myself.
Kate said confidently. That's right. She had been through her divorce and was now raising Maddie on her own. She continued speaking.
Also, I saw something.
What?
Is Ryan at work today?
Yeah. It's his shift and he left in his work uniform. I even made him a lunch this morning.
Well, I don't think I was mistaken, but if I am, I'm sorry. On my way here, I saw him walking with a woman.
I didn't say a word. Then, I finally gathered my courage and spoke up. Hey, Kate. I need a favor. 1 month later, Kate came to visit my home, bringing Maddie along with her.
We're here.
Oh, Kate and Maddie, welcome. As I welcomed them, Megan appeared.
Oh, Kate, were you planning to visit today? Rebecca didn't tell us anything about it.
Seeing Megan glance at me while asking, Kate responded.
It's been a while. Sorry for dropping by unexpectedly. I was visiting my friend nearby and thought I'd stop by after calling Rebecca. I also wanted to see the baby. I hope you don't mind. Come on, Maddie. Let's go see the baby. Oh, and here, I brought some pudding as a little gift.
Kate handed a cake box with pudding inside to Megan, almost shoving it into her hands, and quickly stepped inside. She found the baby, leaned in gently, and gazed at her little face. Then, while looking around the room, she commented,
This place is spotless. I wouldn't have guessed there's a newborn here. When Maddie was little, I barely got any sleep, and the house was always a mess. But for it to be this clean, Megan, you must be very meticulous.
Megan hesitated for a moment before forcing a laugh. Oh, well. Yeah, right. Nothing but lies. She should know by now that my sister would see through her act instantly, but she still tries to keep up appearances. Kate smirked and continued.
Rebecca, you married into a great family. It's the complete opposite of my ex-husband's house. His mom dumped all the housework on me and didn't help with my baby at all. That place was like a house of horrors.
Then, Kate turned to Megan with a bright smile.
But you're different, right, Megan? You help with the housework and take care of the baby properly, don't you? I'm so jealous.
Oh well, it's nothing special.
Megan muttered, avoiding my gaze entirely, as if feeling a little guilty. So, I answered for her. Well, of course. You gave birth to Ryan, so you must understand what a woman's body goes through right after childbirth, right? A woman's body after giving birth is like she's been in a car accident. Forcing her to do housework right after is just awful, don't you think? Megan shot me a glare filled with resentment. Just then, Ryan rushed through the door.
Is Rebecca here? Wait. Kate, it's been a while.
Hey, Ryan. Thanks for having me over.
But before he could even finish greeting Kate, he hurried over to me and spoke in a hushed voice.
Rebecca, I need to talk to you.
But I had no intention of hiding anything. Oh, talk? Go ahead, right here.
Not here. It's something important. Can we talk somewhere else?
No, I'm not leaving Kate and my baby alone. If you have something to say it here. When I replied, he gave up, saying, well, later then. As we had this little exchange, Maddie suddenly spoke up. I want pudding. You're right. Since Kate brought it as a gift, let's have some. I took the box of pudding from Megan, who was still holding it, and placed the contents on the table nearby. Here you go, Maddie.
Yay!
Pudding is so good. I've been on a diet lately, but today is my cheat day. I purposely said cheat day extra loudly, and Ryan immediately looked away. As Maddie happily started eating her pudding, I turned to Kate and asked, by the way, did your ex-husband help out with parenting at all?
Oh, you wouldn't believe it. He did absolutely nothing for his own child. He never held her, never changed a diaper, never gave her a bath. Whenever she cried, all he'd say was, hey, she's crying. Like, what the hell? Whose kid did he think she was? And while I was running around exhausted from taking care of Maddie, he was cheating on me. He was seriously the worst man ever.
Kate passionately told her story right in front of Ryan.
Ryan, you're not like that, right?
She leaned in toward him with a sharp look, and I followed suit. Yeah, right. A father who doesn't help with raising his own child is just an irresponsible loser, don't you think? A terrible excuse for a human being, right? Ryan, seemingly overwhelmed by our pressure, stammered, well, I guess so. At that moment, as if I had just remembered something, I asked Kate,
oh, by the way, did you bring it?
oh yeah, I've got it right here. She pulled a brown envelope out of her bag and handed it to me. I checked the contents and then called out to Steve. Steve, could you come here? There's something I need you to hear.
Useless daughter-in-law, what do you want from me?
He came mumbling. Sorry, everyone. My sister saying she just happened to be in the area and stopped by was a lie. The truth is, I asked her to come because there's something I need you all to see.
What the hell are you up to?
Ignoring Steve's irritated tone, I pulled out a few photos from the brown envelope and spread them out in front of my in-laws. Seeing the pictures, they gasped. What are these? The photos showed Ryan sitting in a park, eating lunch, reading a newspaper, and walking into an internet cafe. In every photo, he was in his work uniform, and it was clearly the middle of a weekday. Steve and Megan, it looks like we've all been deceived by Ryan.
What do you mean?
My in-laws looked completely clueless. So I turned to Ryan and said, "Your company went bankrupt, didn't it?"
What?
My in-laws' faces filled with shock, while Ryan looked incredibly uncomfortable. I continued. Lately, he's been leaving for work at the usual time, but his uniform never gets dirty. That felt off to me. So I checked our bank account, and there was no paycheck coming in from his job anymore. But strangely enough, money was disappearing from the savings account for our child. So I hired a private investigator. And his company shut down months ago. Why the hell didn't you tell me?
Well, you had childbirth and taking care of our baby, so I didn't want to stress you out.
Wow. So you were looking out for me. Funny, it never once felt that way.
You just don't see it. I always put you first,
He really should stop talking before he makes things worse. Well, let's test how much he really thinks about me. Alright then, pop quiz.
What?
What's my favorite food?
Well, I got it. Meat. You've been making a lot of meat dishes lately.
No, that's just your parents' preference. I actually like fish more than meat.
Then, what was it again?
As he fumbled for an answer, Maddie, who had been casually watching, suddenly spoke up.
Uncle Ryan, you don't know? I know. It's pudding, right? That's why Mommy and I bought some today.
Then, with a big smile, she delivered a sharp remark. Uncle Ryan, you don't know anything about Rebecca. Nice one, Maddie. That's right. Ryan doesn't remember anything about me. Because the only thing on his mind is, Maddie is absolutely right. You don't care about me at all.
What are you talking about? I just forgot for a second. Oh yeah, that's right. Pudding. It was pudding.
Ryan was trying to brush it off as simple forgetfulness, but I wasn't letting him off the hook that easily. Oh, just an accident, right? Then let's see if you can explain this. I pulled out another set of photos from the envelope and spread them out in front of my in-laws. The pictures showed Ryan walking arm in arm with a woman, entering a motel together.
Why? How did you get these?
Well, you see, Kate spotted you. But that didn't make sense, because you were supposed to be at work at that time. So, I hired a private investigator to look into your activities. Ryan was cheating on me. No wonder he was always coming home late. He wasn't working, and he was taking leisurely breaks at a motel. His face turned completely pale. How strange. Earlier, you said you were looking out for me. What a joke, you liar. Ever since your company went under, you've been using the money I saved for our child to play around with some other woman. You're a disgrace as a father. Hearing this, Ryan scrambled to make excuses.
No, I was gonna get a new job soon and put the money back. I just borrowed a little until then.
So you're telling me you stole our child's savings to spoil some other woman? What kind of upbringing leads to that kind of thinking? Megan and Steve, can you explain? I turned to my in-laws, who had been listening to everything.
What?
They were so shocked by the truth that they couldn't even form a proper response. So, I asked again. What kind of upbringing did you give Ryan? Before calling me a useless wife, maybe you should focus on fixing your own son's behavior first. At that moment, Ryan's eyes widened and he snapped at me. So it was you who sent the compensation claim to her house. That must have been the important talk he wanted to have when he came home earlier. That's right. Once the investigator confirmed your affair, I had a lawyer draft the papers and send them to your girlfriend.
Wait. Compensation. Are you saying you're going to charge me too?
Of course. As soon as I said that, Megan butted in.
Wait a minute, Rebecca. Compensation? Isn't that a bit harsh? I mean, Ryan was mentally struggling after losing his job. And you were so caught up in childbirth and taking care of the baby. Don't you think you share some of the blame?
That was enough to push me over the edge. Oh, I'll tell you exactly why I was so caught up in childbirth and taking care of the baby. It's because not a single person in this household lifted a damn finger to help me. No matter what excuses you make, a man who abandons his wife after she gives birth and goes off to fool around with another woman is a failure, both as a husband and as a father. Asking for compensation is completely justified. Or, are you and Steve planning to pay me in his place?
No, I mean, that's impossible. Steve is about to retire soon.
Hearing that, Steve turned to Ryan and exploded.
Ryan, you disgrace to this family. How the hell do you plan to take responsibility for this?
Ryan let out a pathetic squeal and instinctively took a step back. I'm leaving this house today. I'll have the divorce papers sent to you later. After saying everything I needed to, I took the bags I had packed in advance, picked up my child, and left the house with Kate and Maddie. A few days later, I officially divorced Ryan through my lawyer. Of course, I demanded compensation, and he had no choice but to pay. Considering he was unemployed, coming up with the money must have been a nightmare for him. But that wasn't my problem. With Steve retiring, he likely had to borrow from his father's retirement funds, and whatever was missing, he probably took out in loans. In other words, all three of them in that house were now unemployed. They had the nerve to call me a useless wife, yet now the whole family was jobless. If anyone in that house was actually useless, it was them. As for Ryan, after more than a month of living a carefree, jobless life, he struggled to get back into the workforce. It seems he got too comfortable doing nothing. Falling into bad habits is scary. Meanwhile, Megan was now stuck doing all the household chores she used to dump on me. The stress must have been too much for her because she spent her days belting out that terrible singing voice of hers. As expected, the neighbors complained again, but this time, there was no one to blame it on. And so, everyone finally realized that Megan was the real culprit all along. Now, the in-laws' house is known around the neighborhood as the House of the Singing Monster. Well, good for her. At least she's well known now, though no one from the neighborhood ever visits anymore. After leaving that house, I stayed at my parents' place with my daughter for a while. My parents welcomed us warmly and told us we could stay as long as we needed, but I knew I couldn't rely on them forever. I wanted to raise my daughter properly on my own. So I got a job at a travel agency, found a daycare, and when my daughter turned 1, I rented an apartment near my parents' house. I planned to manage things on my own as much as possible, but whenever I needed help, I knew I could count on my parents. Little by little, I got used to our new life. One day, while shopping at the grocery store after picking up my daughter from daycare, I spotted a familiar face. It was Megan. She was at the deli counter, sticking discount stickers on prepackaged food. She looked noticeably older, her skin lacking its previous glow, and she seemed more worn out than before. Yet, the fact that she had to work meant Ryan still hadn't managed to find a stable job. Well, That's just the result of their own parenting, isn't it? I didn't say a word to Megan. I just finished my shopping quietly and left the store. A few years later, today is my daughter's preschool sports day. Even though I'm a single mom, my parents being nearby to support us has helped my daughter grow into a bright and energetic child. During a race at school, she came in first place and shouted excitedly, "Mom! Did you see that? I won!" She was beaming with pride. Watching her grow and thrive, I know I'll continue doing my best for her happiness, now and always.